and welcome. So, my name is Steve Lewis, for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet yet. I'm heading up the Microsoft mobile devices business for Australia and New Zealand, and I'd like to welcome you to this beautiful sunny morning at Sydney Harbour. Enjoy the view of the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge, which is spectacular, and the breakfast here today. So, we're excited to be able to share with you today some latest research around the small business market in Australia. So our small business breakfast for Lumia this morning. And I think it's a really important time for small businesses in Australia. As you would have seen in the federal budget, it's very much in the spotlight at the moment, talking to Australian businesses about how can we drive more growth in the economy here and in the market. And we're excited to be able to share with you some of the latest insights around what's happening in that space and how we can help small businesses here to be more productive and to get more out of every working day. So we've got an exciting lineup for you this morning. In a minute I'll be handing over to someone who's an author, an entrepreneur, a futurist and a technologist, Mark Pesce, who's going to run through the findings of the research and also give you some tips and predictions for what's happening in the small business market in Australia. So looking forward to hearing from Mark this morning. And then followed by that, Belinda from Microsoft, our Sales Capability Manager, will be sharing with you practically some hands-on tips around how businesses today are using Lumia and Microsoft devices to get the most out of their business environment. So I'm sure you'll enjoy that session and see some practical applications of what we're talking about. Following that again, I would say please feel free to grab food and drink through the sessions. You also should have picked up this morning a Lumia 640 or 640 XL, a press release and some infographics around the findings of the research. We welcome at the end as well any questions and discussion so we can help with more depth to the findings from the research today. So enjoy the session. I hope you'll see great value from this morning's event. So thank you for joining us. At this point, I'd like to hand over to Mark to share the findings from the research. Mark.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve. Good morning, everybody. So, as everyone's playing with their smartphones, they're brand new smartphones. They're brand new, can be seen from orbit smartphones. And of course, it all seems very normal to us to actually, when we have a spare moment, just stare into the screen and get something done. And when we do this, we forget exactly how new we are to the era of the smartphone. The smartphone was introduced to Australia less than 7 years ago. It feels like we've had them forever. And that's because, well, what's happened in 7 years is the smartphones have become an absolutely indispensable item. Why is this? Well, at the very basic level, smartphones connect us. They connect us to other people, but the other thing they do is they connect us now to the world of information that surrounds us. So they take the internet, which is very big and almost unknowably vast, and it puts it in the palm of our hand, and it makes it bite-sized, and it makes it easy. And once we got it there, well, we never let it go. And this is the reason that we're always staring into these devices, because we're staring into basically everything when we look down into them. And you can see in this research report, you already see that SMEs are losing 35 days a year, 7 business weeks a year in unproductive tasks. And yet, despite that, the screen time that we're spending with our devices, and particularly with our smartphones, is growing and growing and growing. We can often only tear ourselves away from them when we're completely exhausted. And although people may be embarrassed to admit it, when you ask them privately, they will admit that yes, they sleep next to their smartphones, they charge as we sleep, they use them as alarm clocks, they use them as night lights. We like being close to them. It's because they've become the gateway to all of our relations and to all of our relationships. And we use them to share our experiences. Now that can be as simple as calling a friend and talking about the footy match. It could be as important as listening to a customer when they have a problem that we have to solve for them. The smartphone adds another level to that sharing relationship, because with a smartphone you can now share almost anything. You can share every video, every document, every schedule, every piece of information that you might need can be shared through a smartphone. And so that means that you can bring all of your capability and all of your knowledge knowledge to every occasion. And when you can do that, you can actually inspire yourself and you can inspire your customers. Now, this is all very new, so we very rarely use the full scope of the capacities of the device that we carry with us everywhere. We talk about documents when we're on a call. We should be pointing to them. We should be highlighting them. We should be collaborating on them as we're using our smartphones. And nearly half of all the SMEs that were surveyed in the report that you have believe that they can increase collaboration in their businesses. Only a third of those people see technology as being key to that. There's a gap there, and that gap tells us that we actually need to learn how to master the skills and master the power that's actually in our hands. And now today's research coincides with the launch of Microsoft Lumia's Power of Do campaign and the launch of what they're calling the Do Squad, which is designed to help SMEs overcome everyday challenges using supporting technology. So small businesses can apply online to get the help of the Do Squad, and the Do Squad is going to be working with a number of Australian SMEs to help them master these skills, to close that gap, to reduce costs, to increase efficiency, to build stronger customer relationships using Lumia and the Microsoft tools. And soon, the Power of Do is going to be updated with videos from the BizHacks website, which is going to be full of tricks that people have learned to make SMEs more productive. It's people sharing with people to help them. And connecting and sharing and learning, that is exactly what the smartphone is all about. It's about collaboration, improving productivity. Now, at the heart of every SME are two very important kinds of relationships. There's a relationship that an SME has between its employees and a relationship between its employees and its customers. And now that everyone's carrying a smartphone around with them, it's become the default platform to support all of these relationships. And that means more than just having a voice conversation with an employee or with a customer. Those are going to continue to be important. But it's now time to have a deep think about how employees can share with one another. What do they need to share? How do they share it? How can the smartphone bring that sharing to them wherever they go? Because the smartphones are now powerful enough, they're now supported enough to provide that capacity. And that's exactly where integrated apps like Office 365 start to matter a whole lot. Employees can connect, they can share their work, they can collaborate, they can get more done more quickly and with less effort than they could before. Workflow starts to become seamless. Employees can access documents in the cloud, immediately bringing to hand anything that requires their attention. And they do that through the smartphone. And that seamlessness is a big win. What you'll see in the report is that nearly 1 in 5 SMEs surveyed worry about losing valuable data. And of course, we all know this happens all the time. But cloud storage in a smartphone means that the data is always accessible. It's always backed up. It's always available for collaboration. And so a business that learns to collaborate is going to work more productively. It's going to be more responsive to its customers. It's going to be more aware of its competitors. And a quarter of the SMEs surveyed in this report said that an awareness of the competitive environment could spur them into growth. Because awareness is one of the well springs of innovation. And this, interestingly, is where the customer actually has a big role to play, because we're moving from an era of products that get tossed over the wall and they never get seen again, to a time where everything is becoming services. Services are all about building customer relationships. So businesses and customers have real reasons to be more connected than ever before. Businesses that listen to their customers get better at meeting customer needs. As you can see right now from the troubles that are happening over at Woolworths, businesses that disconnect from their customers lose those customers. Now, you don't always need to speak with customers to let them connect with you. A business has multiple points where it can connect with its customers. It can do a voice call, they can do an email, it can do a website, it can do social media, meet face-to-face. There are many touch points, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution for every customer and every business. But the smartphone touches on more of those points than any other solution available to the SME. And that's why it's becoming so important. So, well-connected SMEs gain insights. They gain insights from their employees because they're collaborating with them. And that can lead to an inspiration that can strike at any time. You can see in the report that 1/3 of SMEs have recounted the feeling of waking up in the middle of the night with a brilliant idea that they then didn't write down and they lost by the next morning. Well, one of the best things about a smartphone is that we are never without a device that can capture those moments, capture the insight, and capture the inspiration. We can record our voice with Cortana. You can write something or type it into OneNote. That gets synced across all your devices, and it's ready to be shared with someone else. And it's easy to do that. You don't have to think about it. You just reach out and do it. And so that means that the smartphone is now supporting new ways of doing business. Because people don't have to be in the same room. They don't have to be in the same time zone. They can just collaborate seamlessly through the smartphone. So businesses confront customers in many different ways. They can learn from those customers in many different ways, and they can start to serve them better in many different ways through the smartphone. And customers are starting to enjoy a new empowerment as they use the smartphone to reach into and connect with businesses. It's not nirvana, but it's a long way from where we were just 7 years ago before everyone was carrying a smartphone. Because we're no longer tethered to desktops. The shackles of the office have been snapped with a smartphone. We use the cloud to share, we use the cloud to collaborate. Our smartphones go with us everywhere, these handheld powerhouses that allow us to do almost anything at any time. And all of the tips that we share with one another as we use smartphones are making businesses more productive than they ever have been. And the best part of this is that we're just getting started. In 2020, 60 months from now, 80% of all of the adults everywhere on Earth will be using a smartphone. So that's hundreds of millions of SMEs who will be using the smartphone to trade. And so over the next handful of years, more and more of our professional lives is going to come to center on the smartphone. It's becoming the Swiss Army knife for the SME. Sales, marketing, inventory, fulfillment, customer service, even the cash register, they're all now in the palm of our hands. What we're seeing is that the world of business apps is becoming synonymous with the world of business. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. As Steve mentioned in the morning, my name is Belinda Ristevsky. I'm the Sales Capability Manager at Microsoft. Today I'm going to run you through some key demonstrations that we believe will help our SMB customers maximize time throughout their business. As Mark mentioned, our SMB customers are finding it really difficult to grow. And one of the main reasons for this is because of all the unproductive hours that are wasted each and every day. On average, a small business has found that they're losing or unable to maximize about 5 hours of unproductive time within each day. And that essentially equates to almost 35 days a year that is spent being unproductive. Now, what the research also found was that They're generally unproductive when it comes to when they're traveling, or it may be due to their inefficient admin processes that they have in place throughout the day. So today I'm going to run you through some key examples that will help our SMB customers maximize their time and maybe improve some of their day-to-day admin tasks that they're doing. So to do this, I'm going to run you through 3 different scenarios. The first, a real-life case study with a small business called Castle Craig's Meats, which is based in the North Shore. And following that, I'm going to run you through 2 example businesses, a real estate agent and a logistics company, and talk to you about how they could potentially leverage services that we have within our Lumia products to help with productivity. Let's start off with Castle Craig Meats. Castle Craig Meats is a small business located in North Shore. It's run by a gentleman by the name of Philip and his wife Kathleen. And traditionally this business used very little technology within it. More recently, Castle Craig Meats took part in Microsoft's latest campaign called The Power of Do, and had the Do Squad come out and help them assist with their efficiencies within their business. As part of that, we successfully deployed some Lumia devices, Surface and Office 365 to help maximize their productivity. To showcase how this has impacted that business, I have a short video to show you how this is done so.
Do I see my family in daylight hours? Not a whole lot. Generally leaving at dark, jump in the van to get here by 5:36. So it's a bit hard. My name's Philip Mitchell. I'm owner and operator of Castle Craig Meats. It's a butcher shop that's been standing for up to 8 years now. We took over 3 years ago. We jumped right in and tackled it head on. Biggest challenge is now creating a shop which people are going to want to come to. We seem to have a good group of staff. Biggest thing is training these guys up alongside them being extremely busy. Our systems in the shop are very basic. We have an invoice tray, they go in there, I take the whole lot home at the end of the day. Kathleen, my wife, she also plays a good part in the business, which allows me to be on the floor every day, concentrating on the butchering. We use the butcher's paper, just jot it down, whether it's torn, shredded. Sometimes you get really caught up with running the business and all the little bits and pieces that are going to go on, and it'd be nice to get home for some extra hours of daylight. Didn't really use technology very much. We're a hands-on business. What's the need for technology? We just chop up meat. I think it's time for technology to be introduced to the business. When the Do Squad turned up, a little bit intimidated. I don't think these people really know how bad I am with a computer. It is quite easy to use. I'm using the OneNote on the Lumia, which is proving to be very handy. You know, I set it up, all 3 of us can see it. I put a whole bunch of things on there, whether it be messages, lists and jobs to do. It's all updating, regularly by itself. The Lumia's got a little chat room, which my wife, Diana, my manager and I can all see. She can update it, I can update it, I can then see what sort of work they've gone through, so I know already what I'm up for the next day. Kathleen can see everything straight away, helps with paperwork, invoicing, things that need to be ordered, and now it's all done. It works faster than I do. Using Skype, it's better than what I thought. Charlie shows me what he's having for breakfast, even a good morning kiss through the phone's even better. Just a quick hello to Kathleen, let you know everyone's well, and continue on with your day. It's fantastic, getting home, seeing Charlie, seeing him jump, starting to ride the bike, and things that you don't want to miss out on. Lumia's given me, hours of extra time, and then with that extra time, it's all going to be put into the family, put into the business, put into areas that we need. I would grab any business owner and say, get this, get this now.
Alrighty, so as you can see, Castle Craig Meats has deployed a number of Lumia solutions within the business to help with efficiencies, and it's successfully done so. You heard Philip talk about the ability now to spend extra time with his family, more time to focus on training his staff, rather than losing, let's say, butcher's paper, which he was traditionally using to capture his notes. The OneNote also allows him to have extra productivity time while he's out of the business. So as an example, Philip is able to add notes or tasks directly to the OneNote, which will sync directly back to the butcher. The staff can then complete those tasks, give it a tick when it's done, and then when he gets in the morning, he already knows what's being completed. He already knows what needs to be actioned, and everybody knows where they're at for the rest of the day. Another great example of how Castle Craig Meats has deployed Microsoft products or services within their business is through using the OneNote service. So using the OneDrive service. By using the OneDrive service, this allows the business to place all their invoices up in the cloud and instantly give access to his wife Kathleen. This means that she can spend time with the family when they all get back at home, rather than her having to sit there and do invoices late into the night. They can all spend some time as a family. Having a Surface now in store, it means that he can start documents while at work and inside the butcher, and then when he gets home, he can continue that same document on his home PC, allowing that continual editing feature across all of his devices. Let's take a look at some other example businesses which I've chosen for you today. So the first one is a real estate agent. Now, a real estate agent is constantly on the go, whether they're meeting new clients, whether they're going out to find new properties to lease, to add to their portfolio. They're always on the move. And what we mentioned is one of the key issues or challenges that small businesses are facing is that productive time while they're out of the office. So what I'm going to do is run you through some key examples of how Lumia can help with these situations. The first example I'm going to provide you is the ability to connect a Bluetooth keyboard now to our Lumia devices. The Lumia 640 and the Lumia 640 XL are our first devices to allow you to connect a Bluetooth keyboard directly to the device itself. Partnered with a keyboard like the Microsoft Foldable Universal Keyboard, it allows you to connect two devices simultaneously. By pressing one button, you could be theoretically typing your loan agreement on your Surface device. By pressing the second button, it will instantly swap that to your Lumia device and activate the keyboard. So as an example, as a real estate agent, I may be sitting there on my Surface doing that loan agreement. I then might get a text message from a potential buyer asking for that new address for that hot property that just went on the market. Instead of me stopping what I'm doing, stopping that loan stopping that loan agreement, picking up that Lumia device to reply, I can simply press the sync button and it will transfer over to the Lumia device. I can then reply to that text message with that latest address, and with one tap, I'm back on my Surface replying to that loan agreement or doing that loan agreement. It means that I have less opportunity to be taken away with what I should be focusing on, which is the loan agreement. However, as we learned from Mark earlier, customers are important to small businesses and we need to make sure that we're in contact with them constantly. And a device like this, partnered with Lumia, will help you with that. Let's run through some other examples. So another key thing that customers find issues with or challenges with is acting on inspiration. And when they're out of the office, they find it difficult to capture that idea that they might have on the road or while they're out of the office. They might not have a piece of paper handy to jot that down. And if they did have that piece of paper, chances are they may lose it through the course of the day. With Cortana, you're able to capture a voice note of that amazing new inspirational idea or thought to be able to view later on. So let me give you an example. Not only does Cortana allow you to capture this note, she'll also capture the recording of your voice note. So to give you an example, take a note.
Taking a note.
Research why Lumia is good for my small business.
Saving. Here is what I got.
So Cortana's captured that one note which I've just selected or said. Now the great thing is it will then sync into OneNote. This then becomes available across all my devices that are running OneNote service across all of them. Which means I don't need to be looking at a specific device to be reminded to do such a thing. I don't need to worry about losing this particular note because I have access to it. Now this here is my voice note, but what if I was recording, let's say, it may be a new radio ad promoting their new business, or a way in which you could promote your business. It may be a second person, might be someone like Mark coming in to speak at a roadshow, and you're listening to him and you heard an amazing thought from Mark and you wanted to capture that. Well, Cortana will also enable you to have the voice conversations which occurred at that time. So you can capture that whole moment and make it available across all your devices. Cortana is one example, but another great example of how a business or a real estate agent can maximize and leverage a Lumia device is through the camera functionalities. Now, a really important part of a real estate agent is to be able to go out, capture photos and images of a business or of the new business, whether it's a property to lease or a property to buy, and then have those images up on their website or available in their app or maybe on social media to promote that new property to their customers. Now, traditionally, a real estate agent would walk out with a compact camera. They'd go out to the property, they have a memory card in there, and they take those pictures. Now, it's not until they take it back to the office they can actually leverage those images. And when they get back to the office, they may notice that the angle in which they capture the photo is actually not the best. Or they might notice that the lighting within that photo isn't the best for the website and how it should appear or that they envision. With Lumia, you have instant access to those photos. So to give you an example, if I was to capture an image right now using Lumia camera and its amazing features, not only will I be able to view this image directly on my device, but this will automatically sync up into OneDrive. And what that will mean is the person who's in the office or based in the office can instantly access that photo through the cloud. They can instantly then update it or add it to their social media, their new website, or their app, and allow them to instantly start promoting that business. It means faster business, it means they're able to service their customers better, selling their property faster or leasing their property faster, and again, it means better efficiencies for that business. They're not wasting time traveling, they're not wasting time having to sync from a memory card, and they're not wasting finances when it comes to purchasing additional hardware, such as a new camera, as an example. Another thing a real estate agent may want to do is start up a conference call. Now, you may be thinking, oh geez, it's a small business, what would they want a conference call solution for? Well, buying a house or renting a house doesn't necessarily, majority of the time, doesn't involve just one person. It involves a family, it may involve a husband and wife, it may involve friends who are looking at renting a property together. Now, instead of a business having to fork out or pay for a monthly subscription of a conference call, I can instantly allow conference calls to happen directly from my device. Think as a business. If I was a small business and I wanted to, as a real estate agent, and I wanted all hands on deck for the latest property that just became available to the market. I didn't want to have to wait to the meeting that happens on Monday. I want to join everyone in a call right now. So what I can do directly from the device without installing any applications is I can instantly start up a conference call. Now, while I make a phone call, you'll notice once the call is connected, I simply select add a call. Once I add a call, I can then select another call, and once that call then answers, I then have the option of merging these calls. By merging these calls, I instantly have a conference call set up. Now, depending on your mobile carrier, it depends on how many people you can add to this call. I have successfully had up to 6 people on this call, and then those people can add more if they were using a Lumia device as well. But it's a great way to set up an impromptu conference call directly from the device without the need to have additional hardware or pins or, sorry, that's my message bank calling me back, without the additional requirements to have the pins and the difficultiness that might have for that customer to get onto that conference call. Now, another thing that I've explored or noticed while going to rental properties or going to purchase a new house is that every time you go to a new place, the real estate agent hands you a piece of paper. And on this piece of paper, you need to give them all your information, whether it's your contact details, whether it's your offer, whether you're interested, whether it might be feedback on the property. But it's always on this piece of paper. And what that real estate agent then needs to do is take that piece of paper back to the office at some stage and then add all that information to electronic format, whether it's in an Excel or whether it's in their lead capturing tool that they're using. However, with Lumia, you have Excel or Word and PowerPoint built directly into the device. And with its syncing capabilities in OneDrive, it's really quite simple for the real estate agent to make this digital at first hand. So I've created a lead capture tool as an example for you right here. And this here is a basic Excel document that enables me to capture all the information that might be relevant to that real estate agent at that time. Rather than having to, write out forms and then double handle and copy them over to a digital copy, it allows me to instantly have that information. Now when I get to the office on Monday, I don't have to worry about plugging my phone in to sync that information. It's all up in the cloud. Once I access my OneDrive or my PC, I can instantly have access to this document, removing the need to double handle. The last feature I wanted to cover off for a real estate agent is relation to customer management. Now, as Mark mentioned and as I mentioned earlier, customers are incredibly important to small businesses and large businesses. But making sure that we manage them effectively and give them that personal touch can be incredibly difficult, especially when it comes to people like a real estate agent, which are dealing with hundreds of thousands of people every single month. Now, if a business hasn't yet deployed a CRM tool, there's a great built-in feature within Lumia that can help. Let me show you a quick example. So this here is my colleague Carlo, and what you will notice within here is I've added in information within the notes section about Carlo. Now, if the real estate agent is someone similar to myself, I struggle to remember people's names. So I describe what they look like. He's dark hair, he's married, he's got no children, and he's looking into a unit. Okay? It gives me the information I need if Carlo was to call. I've then taken one step further. I've spoken to Carlo on 2 separate occasions. On the 1st of June, he was interested in the George Street unit. But then he's told me he was going on leave, so I've added that information in here as well. On the 22nd of June, he then tells me he's back from holidays and they're expecting a new child. I've added that information in, so the next time I have that personal relationship, next time I speak to Carlo. Now the brilliant thing about this note section is it's just not available on my Lumia device. If I'm looking at my PC, Carlo sends me an email. I can see this information within his contact card. It is ideal to help you help the customers, or help the business, build that and manage that relationship that they have built with that customer. And it reminds them, it makes them essentially not have to keep all that mind clutter in their head, allowing them to do the job at hand, but still being able to provide that personal experience for those customers. Let's move on to our next example. And our next example is referring to a logistics company, but don't just think logistics company, think courier company. Anyone who goes out and delivers a service, getting into a vehicle and getting out of a vehicle. What I'm going to do is show you some key examples again that can relate to this particular type of customer. The first one is they're going to need to get to a particular location, and maximizing their routes and efficiencies can be quite challenging. So there's a great built-in service into the Lumia devices which can help, which is called Here Maps. Now, partnered with Here Maps, Here Drive and the Here Cloud enables our businesses to add all their destinations at a central point. So once the business logs into their Here Cloud, they have the ability to add all their locations as favorites, which will then sync across all the devices once they log in. Once the user logs in, they have the option to sync. So every morning, the admin staff, or each night before, can add the locations where they need to go and call it a specific thing. On the job card, they might have them called as specific drop-offs. So as an example, I've given you some examples in here. Drop-off 15, drop-off 6, and drop-off 7. As a courier driver today, I may have to go to drop-off 7, drop-off 6, and drop-off 15. Before I start my journey along the way, I don't have to worry about adding in this location. It's all stored in this cloud. I then have the ability to help my day be more efficient. I can then pin this particular location directly to the start screen, which means directly from my start screen, I can click on this and it will navigate me directly or find the best route from the location I'm at and navigate me directly to the needed position. Now what this does for the driver is not only maximize their efficiencies in terms of their travel routes, but it also provides the information that they need when it comes to potential traffic delays. I'm managing a service, I'm delivering a service. I want to make sure it's on time for my customers. And this allows them to include the live traffic information and potentially reroute their information. You'll notice on the way to, if I was to going to North Ryde right now, there's some traffic. It's red. It indicates and tells you that there's some traffic on the way. I might want to reroute and change that option. As a small business, I might also be concerned about finances. So I might not necessarily want tolls activated, or I might be carrying something heavy and not be able to get through a tunnel. And again, I can maximize that route option as well as a user. Now, out on the road, they might have just delivered their first package and they're getting back into their car. And while they're getting back into their car, they might notice that their front tyre is slightly bald and needs to be changed. Now, they want to tell their boss this because their boss pays for their tyres. But they don't want to necessarily disrupt their boss right now, nor is it the right time for them to be calling their boss. They want to remember the next time they speak to him, but they don't necessarily want to do it right now. So using Cortana, you can do what was called a people-based reminder. So a people-based reminder will essentially pop up notifying you of a key reminder when you speak to that person, whether it's by email or via text or via a phone call. So let me give you an example. Next time I speak to my boss, remind me to tell him that my tyre needs changing.
All right. Next time you talk to Carlo Andrexai, I'll remind you to tell him that my tyre needs changing. Is that right?
Yes.
I'll remind you.
So what Cortana has basically done for me is it's identified who my boss is, which is Carlo Andrexai, and I've added that information within my details. Now, whatever way I contact Carlo, or whether Carlo contacts me, Cortana's going to actually pop up and give me that information. To show you how powerful this is, I'm going to go to a text message with Carlo, and you'll notice Cortana instantly pops up and says, hey, next time you said next time you speak to him, you want to know that you need to tell him about the tyre, and it's done so. I might say, oh geez, it's still a text message, it's not appropriate right now, I'll snooze it until the next time. So I'll snooze it till the next time I speak to Carlo, it'll give me that information. It is an amazing feature. It means I don't need to specifically remember when or where I need to speak to somebody. It allows me to have that freedom to continue what I'm doing, but remember that I need to do these important things at a future date. Now, while on the road, I mentioned servicing customers is important, and that customer might want to know exactly where your location is. They might want to know where their delivery is and how far their delivery is going to take to get there. Now, it's all well and good you could go in and take a screenshot of here maps on your specific location, but it's really quite easy to add your location to an SMS. So as an example, I can simply press the attach button, and what this will do is allow me to instantly insert my location directly to a text message. I can instantly send this off, and the customer knows exactly where my location is, allowing them to determine how long it's going to take for me to get to that particular location. Now, the other great thing that you might be thinking while driving is you start to think of things that you might need to do later on, whether it's when you get to a particular location, whether it's late at night, whether it's within your personal life. But let's say you just finished or you're driving throughout the day and you've gone, geez, I left my job card at work and I need to get back there so I can have all my details for the next day's deliveries. Now, instead of you, again, forgetting, or when you get to the office you might forget and just run home, everyone has priorities. You can also ask Cortana to do a location-based reminder. So what I'm going to do is ask Cortana to do that for me. Can you remind me when I get to work to pick up my job card?
Sure, I can remind you to pick up my job card when you get to Microsoft head office. Is that right?
Yes.
I'll remind you.
So essentially now what Cortana will do is leverage the location within my device. And when I get to 1 Epping Road in North Ryde, Cortana will pop up just like she did with Cortana and say, don't forget that piece of paper that you needed for your job card, essentially, giving me that information. Now that is amazing. In fact, there is nothing that you can do to help you do that in your day-to-day life. You can set an alarm, but what if you don't arrive at work at that specific time? You can set a calendar reminder. Again, what if you're not there at that specific time? This will allow you to have up-to-date information when you need it and available to you at hand. So there's some physical examples that I wanted to show you, but let's talk about something that necessarily isn't something you can see, but is incredibly important to a business. Now, as a business, you want to be able to access all your information all the time. You want to make sure that it's incredibly secure for your customers. And Lumia does this for you. So there's a couple of ways that it does it. The first one is onboard hardware encryption, which makes it incredibly secure for you. But the second step that we take is like a BitLocker type technology. So what this essentially does is each and every time the device is turned on, it will scan the software on the handset. If it finds something that is unauthenticated or not authentic on that device or could be malicious, the device will shut down, protecting itself and the information that you have on it. The other great thing is each and every application is tested and certified before it's placed in our store. which means not only will it work on every single Lumia device in the range, it means that it's safe and secure for anyone to download and use at their will. If the business wishes to take it to the next level when it comes to management and support, they also have the ability to add in easily an MDM solution, which allows them extra controls and management if they wish to use that later on in their work lives. Now, we've covered off heaps of features when it comes to the Lumia and the operating system, but let's take a closer look at these specific devices themselves. The Lumia 640 and the Lumia 640 XL support each and every feature I have covered for you today. Each and every feature I have covered is also built into the device. There's no app download, very little setup time required, because it's all about helping the customers save time and being more efficient. The Lumia 640 is an amazing entry-level device. It has an incredible battery life with exceptional RF performance when it comes to reception, that is. The Lumia 640 XL has an amazing 5.7-inch display, which is ideal for that employee who's going out viewing Word, Excel, PowerPoint documents, or answering emails on the go. With its 13-megapixel camera and access to hundreds of thousands of applications, they're both great SMB all-round devices. That's everything I wanted to cover off when it comes to features and the operating system, as well as the devices. I'm now going to hand you back to Steve Lewis, who will wrap up for us.
Thanks, Mel, and also thanks, Mark. I hope they've shared with you some of the very exciting stuff that we found from the research today, and also some very practical examples of how we can help Australian small businesses. I think to me it was quite a shock actually to see this figure of 35 unproductive days, working days per year. That's an enormous amount of time that small businesses are losing. And I think there are some very practical things that we've shown today that again people can do almost, I suppose, without any extra cost or additional work to really make their business more productive. And I think the example of the butcher in Castle Crag was a great example of how you can bring that to life. So this idea of saving more time and becoming more productive through the use of Lumia and other Microsoft tools. I was also very struck by this idea of, as I think many of us would know, the great idea coming to you, late at night when you're just about to go to bed. And I've certainly found personally, using OneNote and just being able to punch that quickly, that one line in there and have it there ready for you the next morning means that you don't lose that great example, and we can help so many small businesses there. In the area of security as well, the fact that now that by putting your documents into OneDrive, they're backed up to the cloud, means that concerns that people expressed in the research around fire for their business or losing a document, we can easily help in that space as well. And with collaboration through Skype and OneNote, many examples here of how we can help businesses. And I think we're also very excited today to be launching the Do Squad that you saw in action in the video, which again is to allow small businesses the opportunity to have a look and apply online as to how we can come and have a look at their business and put some of these tools into action to make life better for them and give them back some time and hopefully some ideas to grow their business as well. So that kicks off today. There's some details in the press release as you saw in terms of the website as to where people can go. And there's also an infographic there which highlights the kind of key statistics we've been talking about today, whether it's around productive hours or other key elements for SMBs. Hopefully also you'll have the 640 or 640 XL. I really encourage you to have a try. And I think what's really amazing is that you're almost getting an enterprise grade experience now out of the box, as we saw, set up for any small business to use without an IT manager, to use Cortana or OneNote or Outlook or advanced navigation features out of the box. And again, these are very affordable devices, really at the cost of, you can probably have 3 of these for the cost of one competitive flagship device. So for a small business, again, where every dollar counts, it means that all your staff can be up and running on the road using these type of devices. So please try them out. Love your feedback and also your experiences of how you find those working. So at this point, I'd like to say, from my side, thank you for your time, your attention this morning, and we'd love to invite any questions or comments you might have. To myself, also to Mark, if you'd like to join me, and Belinda, I'll invite back up to the front. Sorry, Charlie.
A couple of things. Firstly, I'm running into a lot more people who run small businesses who are showing me their Lumias and telling me how much they love them and showing me how they are providing a solution to their business. And this is not through me actually asking questions, it's them sort of presenting that to me because my job, so well done.
Thank you.
And I guess it's kind of been more of a sort of behind the scenes thing. I haven't seen any sort of big sort of skywriting or anything from you guys. It looks like it's a behind the scenes campaign you've been running, so it looks like it's working. The second thing, I have a best mate, my oldest mate, who's a real estate agent, and he uses an iPhone, and so far this year he's gotten 2 fines for holding his phone while he's driving. He's constantly telling me how much he hates the fact that his phone doesn't do for him what he needs it to, and pretty much I think you've showed about 5 different examples. I think about 4 of them he could actually start using straight away. So I'm going to put his name forward to suggest that we send him a handset, because he is one of these guys that doesn't care about technology, doesn't want to think about technology, but almost every example that you had there, he has complained to me about that his iPhone does not do. So for me, it's been sort of showing me that, well, they're very practical, very easy to digest examples. The hardest thing for you guys, I would imagine, is just getting the handset in people's hands, because people so often want that nice polished handset they've been using for the last 5 years, and all of a sudden their current usage changes, but they don't sort of think of changing their handset. Is that something that you've found, maybe, Mark? Is that something that you see?
Yeah, I mean, we're creatures of habit, right? And so when you change the device, you change the way of working, and this is the opportunity. I mean, this is the opportunity for SMEs, because most SMEs aren't really, they're using the smartphone to talk on, right? But they aren't using it as this broader tool for collaboration. And that's the threshold we're on. And so I think there's a real opportunity here, is that as SMEs come over into that, to have them rethink the device and the way they're using that device in the business.
The other question, and I know there are other questions, I don't want to take too much time, but do I have to make a complete bet? Do I have to jump in completely into Lumia? Can I have an Android device and use some of those features that you described with Office 365 and things like that? Because I would imagine that as a user, if I've been using Android or iPhone for the last 5 years, and I could sort of take a small bite and then grow the bite over sort of 6 or 12 months, that might be something that eventually pulls me to Lumia, but it means I don't have to jump in both feet immediately. Is that an option too? How would that work?
Can I jump in there? So first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the commentary around the momentum you're seeing in small business. I think we're very much seeing that in Australia, and I think Lumia is really resonating there because of the tools we're showing you. We're getting adoption both actually in the enterprise space and the business space. So again, we haven't, as you said, done the skywriting, but again, lots of activity in that area. To answer the other question, I think there really is an opportunity for people to put that toe in the water, and you'll have seen that a lot of the things we're showing you also work across platform. So have Office for Apple and for Android. Also, you'll see now that Cortana is also going across platforms, so people can try some of these tools on their existing devices. I mean, I think you'll find that you'll have the best and most integrated experience with Lumia or a Surface device, but they might want to try one and see how that works across the business before expanding the whole business across. So again, yes, there is that opportunity. I would say the productivity tools and gains we'll get from trying these tools are very worthwhile for them making an investment.
Okay, great, thank you.
I might maybe just ask Belinda's comment on the other comment I would pick up on as well, is that for your in-state agent friend who's on the road, how much now is voice activated in terms of some of the features and functionality?
So there's a couple of key things that we didn't cover off, but if there was a Bluetooth accessible within the vehicle, as an example, a text message is fully read out to you, you can reply via text, and the phone could be in the boot. So that would definitely help when it comes to productivity. There's also some additional features using Cortana that will allow you to, we saw notes, but you could call someone, you could activate an SMS, you could open specific applications. There's a lot of extra functions there as well that you could leverage.
Yeah, great. Okay, because he's a very good talker.
All real estate agents are.
Yeah, just want to ask about Cortana. It's in the top, people saying alpha. And on the phone, you tap Cortana, says I don't speak your language, so I tried to send it to the US, and we tried to send it to the UK, it comes on. So how proactively will you be telling people that they can use Cortana if they select the United Kingdom, or they get a message, and I see there's a message that's saying go to Windows Hello or whatever it is. But I mean, normally you're not promoting alphas too broadly, but it looks as though it's working pretty well. So how broadly will you be promoting that? And then with all these the Do team, the videos, will you be actively promoting them? Because I mean, some of the stuff Charlie said about what iPhones can't do, well, iOS 9 will solve a lot of that with the proactive Siri doing a lot of the things that Cortana's had to jump on Siri for some time. So I mean, they're catching up from that point of view. So I mean, you've got a small window of opportunity to really let people know that Cortana's doing this now. But the other question that sort of links all this together is, when do you think Cortana will be available in Australia as out of the box, it's just on? Do you think it'll be ready for Windows Phone 10? And so, will you be promoting Alpha, and then when is Cortana coming to Australia?
Yeah, so just to clarify where we are today, so Cortana is here in Australia in Alpha today. So with your 640 and 640 XLs, she will be there for you in Alpha mode. And again, she's learning Australian as we speak today.
Do I have to click on United Kingdom for that to happen?
In terms of settings, yes, UK is the way to go for getting that Australian Alpha.
So I mean, the question is how proactively will you be telling people that? Because otherwise they won't do it.
Yeah, we'll give people instructions to make sure they go to the right place to get that Cortana experience. But that's the thing we would like people to do, is use it in Australia. So again, that she can learn the Australian language, the mannerisms, the way we ask questions, which are, again, each country is slightly unique as we know. So again, that's a very important part, because it will be locally relevant and understand us here locally. I think one other piece I would call out maybe around the functionality is what's very important with the excitement coming around Windows 10. Cortana will be across devices. So again, the experiences we're showing here, whether it's on laptop, tablet, in the future also on Xbox, again, it's a cross-platform service that it will allow you to, the reminders will travel, the functionality will travel across the whole range with Windows 10. So I think that's an important piece to understand, especially when we're talking about productivity as well.
But Steve, will it come out Alpha with Windows 10?
Yeah, so at some stage then, when I think when we're ready to go for Australia, we'll move from Alpha to Beta. We haven't announced when that will happen in terms of timing yet.
Yep. Oh, this is a question in my head forming around this Do Squad that hasn't quite formed yet. But the Do Squad, is this like an extension of your business in some way, or is it a marketing initiative? I really like it. You nailed it when you said, you know, for the unsophisticated user, this is an enterprise-grade solution in the box. Because most people out there are unsophisticated technology users, unlike people in this room. But the Do Squad thing, I'm trying to, is it a marketing initiative, or where are you going with this?
Yeah, so it is a marketing initiative. I think the observation we've had is very much to that point, that where you sit down with a small business and understand their needs and help spend some time with them, you can really help them drive productivity forward. And again, I think lots of examples of that where, again, that face-to-face time is really important. And again, the opportunity there, as we saw with the butchers, I think examples with real estate to drive things forward. I think what's interesting to me is, again, we're trying this activity. Again, it's a way to help promote and give some visibility around the devices and the solutions that we have in market. But again, it asks the bigger question of, you know, if that's working really well, if there's a high degree of interest,
it doesn't say
where do we
how many
take it
numbers,
next?
it says a number of small businesses,
Yeah.
which could be 4.
Yeah, so we're having a look at that very much so. But I think it's a great question.
It's
really
an expensive initiative too.
It's a tailored initiative where it gives those particular companies a lot of support. So again, the question is, yes, how broadly can you go? And to the point earlier as well, we will be making sure that the examples that we've got are well publicised, and people can see what's happened there. So again, if they have a similar business, they can replicate that.
But then part of that, to answer that question, I mean, can I ring Microsoft and say, well, can I have a booking with the Do Squad, or can I go into the upcoming Windows store, Microsoft store, and say, hey, is the Do Squad here? I want to.
That's that specific.
Do Squad do me?
Yeah, but the way the Do Squad is set up today is it's a promotion where we're asking people to apply, and then based on the applications, we will go out and help those particular businesses. I think, you know, again, it's fantastic to see your enthusiasm around that initiative. And we'll have to say how we take that forward. I think the flagship store, which will be opening, you know, later in the year in Sydney, will also provide that level of service where people, small businesses, were to come in there, they will be able to meet people who could talk about the solutions we're talking about today.
This is more about your app store. I haven't been in there for a little while, so this might have changed. But when I was in there last time, I couldn't find an app for my CommBank or my CommSec or those kinds of things. And for me, that running a business, you know, I need to be able to check my internet banking and those kinds of things. Has that changed? Are the banks in there? Are the financial institutions in there now providing content around that? Because as a business operator, that's probably been one of the things that's held me back from using you guys. Like all this stuff is great, and that's sort of pulling me in your direction. But all the sort of supplier services that I use, where I get rich information from, I need to conduct tasks from. Last time it wasn't there. Is that changing?
To answer your question, yes, Commonwealth Bank is available for our customers to purchase, and we've recently released some amazing new applications like MenuLog. So our application store is definitely growing. However, as we heard, Windows 10 is coming later on this year, and the ability to have a universal application store will definitely help us increase that app volume. As we'll have Windows 10 across all the market with the universal app store, it means that our usage or our user base is enormous. Windows, meaning that it will be best bang for buck essentially for an application developer to create for Windows, as they'll have a large pool of people to potentially
So you
download.
go from create for phones to create for all.
Correct.
Everyone. Okay. Cool.
I think ANZ's the only one without a Windows app, phone app, and it works on their mobile website. So.
Right, so because it's okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Westpac was published a few weeks ago as well. So there's
A business bank.
fantastic check. Do you want to comment any further on the Universal Apps, please?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most interesting things about the platform around Windows 10 is this idea of the universal app. I mean, Microsoft's been slowly moving in this direction, but with Windows 10, we finally have this idea that there is the only difference between a smartphone and a tablet and a laptop are the screen sizes and whether or not it has a keyboard. There's no fundamental difference on what its capacity is, and that's the way you want things to be. You don't want to have to change a device and then change the way you're thinking or change your workflow. And Windows 10 is the first time you actually get that.
And as well too, like, you know, Google's just started penalising all these companies for not having a mobile responsive website, so it's an icon on your desktop that takes you to their mobile responsive website.
I was just going to ask about, for the two phones that you mentioned, obviously they're available through the usual retailers, etc. And you've got the Do Squad, which is great. I'm just thinking in terms of, are you investigating any other options in terms of reaching out to SMEs in terms of other partnerships? So, I mean, obviously for a lot of SMEs, they just don't know about this stuff, and the thing is they can go in Officeworks and get the phone, but in terms of actual advice and, you know, being told that this stuff is possible and how to implement it, great, you've got the Do Squad, but is there any other sort of partnerships or avenues you're investigating? Obviously, some have trusted advisors in terms of IT resellers, some don't. But you know, are you forming any partnerships with those people? Or?
So I think a couple of things. One is then through the kind of promotional around it is the website we're setting up. We're putting a lot of material online. So this idea of biz hacks to show you tips and tricks for your business. We hope will mean that anyone can have access to the good content we're sharing here. The other piece is, I think, as Microsoft, we have a great reach into the IT channel. Again, traditionally the mobile phone business has been more maybe retail and through the traditional retail and operator partners. But we are also working with a lot of IT partners who then talk to small businesses around other areas of IT within their business. Again, I think also teaching them around the opportunities here for talking to partners around the mobile elements of the business. So that is another key kind of focus from my side.
So your product goes through Ingram Micro?
It does today. So again, companies like Ingram have that breadth into the IT channel, and people would typically buy a laptop or a tablet or Office 365 for their business through that channel. So the question would be why not buy your Lumia as well?
Well, one of the things I see is that, you know, I see the other manufacturers, the Samsungs and the HTCs of the world, and they go out and put a flagship smartphone in the market. It's got someone else's operating system. They put a lot of marketing behind it, and they put it up in lights. And then they come out later and they say, oh, well, this is our Windows version. And it doesn't always seem to have the same sort of top level specs, or it definitely doesn't have the same level of lights and promotional push behind it. Is that something that you think we're going to see changing with you guys? Because when I see that, I think, well, that manufacturer seems to be choosing somebody else first and you guys second. Now that may not be true, but from the sort of this sort of language that they're putting out, that's what I'm thinking from it. Whereas there's nothing to stop them from making you guys the priority number one, the big shiny operating system that runs their big flagship phone. But I haven't seen that yet. Is that something that, am I mistaken? Is that something that you guys in practice? Is that something you guys are changing?
I think it's a very interesting question and an interesting area. So I think with Windows 10, it'll be very interesting to see how that evolves. Because again, that is quite a change in the operating system landscape. I think if you also take a broader picture, if you look at PC, tablet, and phone, I don't think I would say that's necessarily the case. So you may see, I think, some of the best solutions coming on PC or tablet with a Windows operating system, and the question will be, when will we see that also in the phone space? So I think great question, and I'd say watch out to see what comes with Windows 10.
Okay, great.
Can I just ask one follow-up on the IT channel that you mentioned? And obviously you you raised the obvious point, why not those IT resellers also, in addition to laptops and tablets, sell Lumia devices as well? Is there anything, can you point to any changes there? Is that changing? Are more much partners coming on board to do that?
I think we're seeing, again, as I suppose smartphones have more computer-like applications, that is becoming part of the conversation. I think in that space, people are talking about how do I mobilize the business. And when you talk about mobility in that sense, it's about business processes, it's about productivity on the go. And to some degree, it doesn't matter which device you use to do that. It's more about which systems or services. If you're using OneNote to make your business more effective, you can use that on a number of devices. So from that point of view, yes, those companies are saying, look, I can give you all the pieces you need to mobilize your business. Other question?
If anyone has any other questions, we can, there's always a chance afterwards by email as well.
Very good. So, from my side and on behalf of Mark and Mel, thank you very much for your attention again. Hope you've enjoyed this morning, and again, all around for further questions or follow-up, or tutorials on your 640 or 640 XL if you'd like those.